comprehend, oh potluck. God bless the child with his own powder to rock.
Yo. So welcome back. You know, Yusef, this dude cannot stay on camera. He's snacking. We're gonna have to get this brother right.
I don't want no problem, man.
Yeah, this is probably so. Cherie, how you doing? What's up
I'm
with you?
good. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. So
I'm
look,
fat for a nerd.
you say you what?
I'm fat for a nerd, man.
Oh, whatever. Look, this is what we're gonna do because Yusef threw us off today. We're gonna talk a little bit about our banter with you because you're in the Atlanta chapter, but you're also in the national chapter. And then probably at the 15-minute mark, we'll get into your updates, and then obviously Quasi will come through. But
Quasi.
Quasi, Kwame, all of them, everybody coming through. My bad, Quasi. Charge it to my heart. So listen, so we've been having a conversation. I think Yusef wasn't so much privy to the conversation around the boycott, but I know you heard about the big boycott. And so maybe Cherie, because you probably saw the comments in the chat, like what's some thoughts that you have around the boycott, and then our ideas of struggling in, I guess, as it pertains to politics versus economics. Just maybe share some things you saw, and then Yusef, you can kind of chime in too with your overall thoughts. I know we talked backstage a little bit, but yeah, Cherie, like what have you seen with this Target boycott, and what type of conflict or confusion you've seen it cause?
I think in the mainstream, it's caused like a bit of confusion on because I feel like we don't really have a direct understanding of what our real issue is, as a community, or even, in the US of A or whatever. So it's caused like a lot of confusion overall, the boycott at its premise. But I think when we started in the conversation in the chat was there was a lady that was going around in Targets telling Black folks, like, you shouldn't shop there. You shouldn't shop here. What you doing in there? And she got mostly like a good response, but it was shared in the chat is like, is this something we could be doing? Or, like, is this a way we could start to engage with people? And I think because a lot of people in our org are, politicized to a certain extent, the response was like, I don't know if this is the right tactic. And I feel like overall these past few weeks we've been talking about different tactics as far as meeting people where they're at. And so, yeah, there are some people that, are like, hey, I agree with this tactic to the extent. And then there's other people that's like, this is kind of like fake activism because, like, we don't really know the ask of this Target boycott. We don't know what's the end goal. Like, there's no overall strategy with this mass boycott. A lot of people are just saying we're going to do it until we get DEI back. Or a lot of people are just trying to build up Black-owned businesses, which has already proven itself. And, it's been mentioned many times on this channel, how Black-owned businesses are not going to save us. So, so it's caused some chatter. So there was a lot of chatter just how, that strategy may not be it. Me, I was kind of half and half on it. I felt like I wouldn't walk up on people in a Target and tell them, not to shop there. But I do think we can engage with people that are trying to do this boycott. Not necessarily the everyday person that's walking around, maybe the people that are very pro boycott. Because I feel like those people have a spirit to maybe want to be moved to organize. So, yeah.
Okay. So Yusef, any general thoughts on the effectiveness or tactics of boycott or pooling your money a particular way? And I just love to hear your thoughts. And then I want to kind of get into one of the resources that Cherie shared in the chat around an important topic. But go ahead. Any initial thoughts around boycotts and economic struggles?
Well, I think it's necessary. And to Cherie's point, is what to what end and what's the objective. We assume every Black person or every New African person is aware of what's going on. In reality, we're not. And so from that standpoint, we're applying the pressure without necessarily doing the work, the due diligence of connecting. So like here in Detroit, a group of Black Baptist preachers did an organizing, and I saw it on Facebook Live, and I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. And it was one of those long ass Facebook posts, or not posts, but live, like, where you gonna get to the meet? And I saw the people go in the store. So I'm like, why are you in the store? Like, is this part of the boycott? And then Zeke from New Era, Detroit, he posted and he was clarifying where it's like, oh, what part of the boycott of this that we're going and we're purchasing things. So like, oh, this or that what it was, which was their objective was to go and buy all the black products.
Yeah.
So how does that?
Yeah, that's what people were talking about with Tabitha. Like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe since Tabitha said this, we should just support the black people in Target or support them online. There's some people that's like maybe buy the black products online, which is just
Yeah.
So I have a mixed reaction in terms of, I mean, clearly it's not going to produce the type of change you want. So let me state that. However, I think people are just so desperate to organize and to do things right. But then also we're finding ourselves repeating history, Malcolm versus Martin, et cetera, and with the masses of black people and African are still suffering. So I think that as long as there's an absence of consistent, bona fide and committed, and them my words, because who am I to tell another motherfucker you ain't bona fide, right? They'll probably fight me over that, but we measure that based upon longevity, based upon ideology and things of those nature, and but also realizing everybody's interest is not the same. So this current boycott is, I think, is more so about engaging America, not necessarily the radical struggle of revolutionary struggle. And so we have to be clear on that, and we have to be careful of not necessarily trying to project that on them. That's what their choice, but doesn't mean that we can't be critiquing and also introducing that in the struggle as well.
Yeah, I agree. I do think because even my family was really big in my family chat about the blackout on Friday, and I didn't want to down it because I'm like, yo, I think it's good that they care about something or some sort of larger struggle. So I think for me, I just tried to start the conversation, really kind of give reminders that there needs to kind of be a bigger push and understanding, and this is a process that has unlearning involved, that has conversation involved, that involves just many elements. So yeah.
So I want to share some. So in the conversation, there's a lot of time that economics is thought so we could just pool our money, we can spend our money, and then so Cherie shared the myth of propaganda of black buying power, which I'm sure everybody on this platform have heard, whatever. But I just want to kind of think about some hood. I want to go through some hood math I did, right? I'm a hood economist. I ain't a real economist, right? So in 2025, the black buying power is supposed to be $1.98 trillion. If you break that down to the 36 million black people, and I didn't say African American because there's an argument that it's 41 million African Americans, but if you break that down to the 36 million black people, that's going to give each of us $55,000 a piece. I mean, all of us, each black person in the U.S. got $55,000 a piece. And this is the money that they're saying that we just spending frivolously, weird somewhere, right? But because y'all love Kendrick so much, for every one Kendrick, that's $140 million. For every one Kendrick, that's 2,545 people with zero, right? So so Braun is more and other people are more. But for every one Kendrick, that means there's 2,545 people with $0. So now let's go to expenses. Even if, let's say, everybody had that money, 35% of our expenses goes to housing. So that's going to take away $19,250. That's going to leave us each with $35,750. Now let's go to food. We spend 24% of our income on food. That's $13,200. So now we at $22,550. And then I'm gonna stop at this transportation. We spend 14% of our income on transportation. That's gonna take another $7,700 away from us. Now we at $14,850. So each of us got 14, and I didn't talk about any other things, healthcare and all those other things. Those three things. That's gonna put us at $14,850. Now there's 500 and wait, is that billion? Well, so if you were able to look at the black businesses in our community or in the black in the US. After you divide that, after you multiply that 14,850 times the number of black people, that's going to be 525 billion that we actually have as spending power, right? And then if you take all of the black businesses around and you divide that up, that means each of the black businesses is going to get $131,250. So again, if we just like do the long math, there's no way that we are serious that this, all we have to do is just leverage some type of money that we don't have. And again, that oftentimes the people are not actually telling you the source that they got it from. And so it's important to examine the source. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of like draw out that math. Before we get into the chapter updates, any reflections or thought process when you hear all those weird ass maths?
Well, I'm gonna play a little devil advocate here.
Okay,
I hear the numbers and I hear where you're going. I think the point in the position is that we have resources. We can question what those resources look like. I mean, the fact that again we're spending, so I don't think it get lost into how people blow it out of proportion versus just keeping it simple with the Nation of Islam do for self. And I think that's the goal, is saying like what little, and I'm afraid what little we have, if we channel that towards ourselves, because fundamentally we all agree you need resources, you need funding to be able to lead towards revolution, right? In the grand scheme of things, we don't produce enough, but we have enough. Again, like if the three of us and if we all work, right, and we're saying we're going to donate $100 to blah blah blah, like we control that. I think that part of the argument is getting lost in this. I mean, even here, like we're on someone else's thing, that there's people that are doing Patreon, etc. Like, what if money doesn't matter, then why are we doing these other things? Because and I'm not calling for capitalism by no means, but just from a basic, like there's difference between capital and capitalism. And capital is not necessarily money. It could be exchange of goods, exchange of services for a particular objective. So that's my
right. So real quick, I know I want to get into the update, and I'll let you respond to that too. But I think it's important that what you said is recorded so we can kind of go back and go through it, because I
don't need to be recorded, brother. I know.
You know it's live. But what I'm saying is because I just want you to know that the argument was never about not having resources. That was never the argument, ever, right? The argument is that we have all this power. They're calling that power, and that's not one. The people who did the research, the reason why they did it is because black media companies wanted to advertise their services or their brand to white corporations. And the black media company was trying to convince the white corporations, like, hey, you should invest in me and buy ads for my media company so that I can convince these black people to spend for you. So the number was already exaggerated and wild in the first place. So if you're saying resources and power, we shouldn't conflate the two. They didn't say black resources. They say power, black buying power. So resources and power, that's two different conversations. But go ahead, Cherie, really quick, and I guess we can talk about this later, but share your response and then we're going to get into some chapter updates.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly going to say, because I know you talk about resources a lot and stuff like that. And so I was thinking, when you tell the story about the person that was always talking about money, it's like, well, wouldn't you rather? It's really resources that people want. And so I think, yeah, pulling it away from money and the black dollar, and we talk about black resources and pulling people's minds away from just supporting black business alone and trying to see, like, is this a cooperative business? Like, and most businesses are not co-ops, but can this business be transformed into something, even when it comes to the own, like, can they be used for the greater good for the overall community and not just that particular family? Because especially in Atlanta, you have these businesses that are, really popping off in black, but it's really only helping that person's family and their kids and them have a nice house and da-da-da-da. But then there's also another side of this where we can push people to think differently about business owning, as far as looking more into cooperatives, to see kind of like more of a socialistic way of business. And then also the businesses that are not already cooperative, pushing them to be more involved in the community beyond, just, oh, now you've made me rich. But overall, like, how is your place? How is even your shop? Is it used? Can it be used as an organizing space? Can it be used as a place where people come and talk about maybe possible radical ideas, so I think kind of those are things that we kind of need to twist the conversation into.
So as we twist the conversation, we want to kind of get into